everybody, it's Gypsy, and today we are going to be making homemade mozzarella cheese. And it's actually a lot easier than you would think. I was shocked the first time I made it. So what you're going to need is approximately a half gallon of milk. I have a bit more than that in here. Now the most important thing you need to remember is you must use non-homogenated milk. Don't use homogenated, otherwise it's not going to work. It will not separate into the curds in the way, and you have to do that because the curds are your cheese. Okay, so I prefer to use totally raw milk, which is not only non-homogenated, but it's unpasteurized. My system cannot handle pasteurized milk or even homogenized. Also, I don't like the taste, so I always go with raw milk. So this is totally raw milk. Now what I do is I will buy a half a gallon of milk a week. And if there's any milk I don't finish at the end of the week, I save it until I have enough milk that is turning to make cheese. So that's how we ended up with a little bit more than half a gallon. Now, you don't need for your milk to begin turning before you make the cheese, because you can add vinegar, which I'm going to do that to separate it. That will make it separate. But I found that if I have some of my milk that has already begun to separate, like in this one, you can kind of see, you know, it was starting to turn and separate. And you know, the cream does do that with non-homogenized, but I found as it's getting older and turning, it does it more. And also my jug, it starts to get slightly swollen, and when I open it, you can tell the gas is released in the jug. So it's churned pretty good. And I found that it works best, even with adding the vinegar. It just really come up with this nice glob of curds that really form into a very good mozzarella cheese. Okay, so you want to put your milk in a nice sized pan. Then what you want to do is you want to turn the burner, I don't know, I do about medium, okay? And you want to stir it frequently to make sure it heats evenly, okay? Also, you want to get the temperature up to 115 degrees. You know, around the same temperature you want your water when you're proofing your yeast, okay? So, I'm going to take my candy thermometer and I'm going to put it in here, okay? And we're gonna let this heat up, okay? And then I'll get back to you for the next step. You're not gonna believe how easy this is. Okay, so step number 2. Just approaching 115 degrees here. And of there, so I'm gonna turn off my heat. I'm going to remove my pan from the burner. Now, hopefully you can see this, but it has already done some pretty good separation. But what we're going to do to help it separate thoroughly is add 7 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. So you're gonna pour it in, and you're going to stir. You just stir it for a minute, make sure it's thoroughly incorporated in there, and I can feel it separating. Okay, so then what we're going to do next is we're going to put a lid on our pot, and we're going to let it set for 20 minutes before we go on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is you're going to remove your lid. Now, this is where you're going to take the curds out of the way. Out of the W-H-E-Y. So anyways, I like to use this. And, ooh, look at that, wow. This big clump of whey in here. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Wow. That's good. You're gonna put it into a bowl. Smells like mozzarella cheese already. Okay, you want to make sure you get all your way out of here. Now, when it comes out like a big clump like this, it is like there's nothing really. There's no little remnants or anything. At least when you use raw milk. Raw milk, I don't know, I've never tried it with pasteurized milk. I have a feeling it might be a little bit tougher. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, now you want to get the rest of that whey out of there. So I'm just going to try to see if I can get that excess out. Now, what you want to do now is you're going to squeeze it. You're going to be forming it in a bowl and squeezing out the excess whey. I said that backwards before though, didn't I? I wanted to take the curds out of the whey. Yeah, I did say that right. Anyways, never mind. Pay no attention to this crazy old lady. So what I'm going to do is I'm adding a half a teaspoon of salt to my curds. And I do have a good amount of curds in here. If you used an exact half gallon, maybe a quarter teaspoon, I don't know. So I'm going to put this in. You want to use sea salt. I don't recommend iodized. So we're going to put this in. Let me move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. So you're just going to take your cheese and you're just going to keep squeezing it. Okay. Now, I'm going to dump the whey back into the pot. And I'm going to keep doing this until I'm satisfied that I got out as much of the whey from the curds as I possibly can. I usually use a bowl with higher sides so I don't make a mess, but then you really wouldn't be able to see. So, you just want to make sure your hands are clean. It's hard for me because I have gardener's hands because I'm always gardening. Okay, we're just going to keep doing this. Get there. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? I'm going to do this a couple more times. You just want to, just squeeze as hard as you can. It's good exercise for your hands. Yeah, I'm hardly getting anything out now. Okay, so what we want to do now, you want to reheat your ball of cheese up to 160 degrees if you're going to do it in the microwave. Or if you don't want to use a microwave or you don't have one, you're going to put it back in the whey. Now, you want to reheat. If you're putting it in the whey, you're going to do it on the stove top. You want to reheat it to 170 degrees. So you're going to need your candy thermometer. If you do it in the microwave, you're going to 160 degrees. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do about 20 minutes at a time in the microwave. Okay, so I'm going to want my thermometer again. Also, I want to get 2 spoons because you're going to start. After you get to 160 degrees, you want to start kneading it right away, pulling it, kneading, kind of like taffy. So at the beginning, it's going to be too hot. You're going to need spoons. When it cools down, then you start doing it with your hands. So seeing a little bit more way in here than I want. So we're going to stick this in the middle. See what we're up to here. Looks like it's about around 100, I think. Yeah, so I still have a little bit more way. I'm gonna just kind of see if I could take any of it out. No, I guess it's not good. Okay, so what you do is before you put it back in the microwave to heat it up to the right temperature, just kind of stir it up a little bit. And it's not really going to stir like liquid anymore because it's very, very close to being cheese. Okay, so we're going to put it in for another 20 minutes. And this is kind of a messy job because it's all over the place and your hands get dirty. Okay, so it took me, I don't know, 5-6 times, 20-minute increments to get it where I want it. Now, this is not quite 160 degrees, but I can tell by the consistency, this is where I want it. So, what we're gonna do, it's too hot to use your hands right now. We're gonna take 2 spoons, and you're just kinda, gonna be kneading it, okay? So, just kneading it around. When it gets to the point where I can use my hands, I'm going to get back to you and we'll show you how I do it that way and the final step. Okay, so now I'm at the point where I can use my hands. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so like, when it gets to like a smooth, silky kind of thing, you're very close. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of pressing it together. And you're going to form it into a ball. Try to get any air bubbles out. Now, I have never, ever, ever been able to form such a smooth ball. There's no lines or anything in it, like the store. You know, when you get it at the store, it just, it's very, very smooth. I have never been able to do that, so don't worry about it if you can't get it perfect. If you do get it perfect, let me know how you did it. So you're just going to keep doing this. Yeah, this one looks like I'm going to have a lot of wrinkles and lines in this ball of cheese. Yeah. I always wonder if I'm doing something wrong at this point, but I'll tell you, it doesn't matter. I mean, it tastes wonderful. It does. It just, oh, it's like the perfect mozzarella cheese. You know, fresh mozzarella, and you put it on pizza or something, or you grate it on something. Oh my God. So, so good. I make this all the time because I love it so much. I like it better than the fresh mozzarella you buy in the store. So, I got all the air bubbles out. I'm trying. I was hoping I would do a better job for the video than usual, but actually, it's worse than usual. Not worse than like how, I mean, the texture and everything's perfect, but you know, I got all these lines and stuff. So I'm going to try, see if I can get it into a better ball. It actually looks like a brain to me. It does. So, anyways, this is the best I'm going to be able to do. You can see I have lines in there. So, what you want to do now is you want to cool your ball of cheese down. So I have a bowl of cold water here. And you can, which I might, add some ice cubes to cool it down. You know, this side's getting a little smoother over here. Wish I knew what I did here. I'm going to place it very gently in there. And I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes. I'll get right back to you. Okay, so I did add a couple ice cubes. Just cool it down a little better. So I'm just kind of squeezing a little more. It's still very soft, okay? So this is what you end up with. So what I have here is some paper towels on top of a paper plate. I'm going to put my cheese ball here and just kind of let the paper towels, you know, dry it off. You want to get it as dry as you possibly can. It should firm more as it cools. So I'm going to wrap it in plastic or something. Okay. Now, about your whey. I don't throw mine out. Now, a lot of people use it for baking. I don't. What I do is I use it in my plants that like a little bit more acidity. I will use it to feed my azaleas and my berries. So what I will do is I will cut this in half with water and then water my plants with those. And they really seem to like it. So that's what I do with that. So you want to make sure it's all the way cooled down. Store it in the refrigerator. You use it like you would anytime. So I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.